For some reason, 1950s America has always struck a sort of nostalgic sweet note with me. Obviously I wasn't there, or even then, but like a lot of people from my generation, I probably don't have to look too far to find the root cause. The 50s were a boom time for the States, the birth of the suburban dream and golden age of capitalism, both of which actually sound quite unappealing when I say them out loud.
Now you've got the idea. Put plenty of Coke in that refrigerator.
It was the time of Elvis, Buddy Holly, Marilyn Monroe and Johnny Cash. There were diners, drive-ins, drag races, and for some reason, high school students old enough to be their own dads. I mean, honestly. It was also a time when TV took over America's living rooms, and icons and pop culture references that have lasted until this day were created. Bogart and Bacall, Isle of Lucy, this masterpiece. Granted, there was also racial inequality, the looming threat of nuclear war, and a fairly rich vein of sexism that led to Betty Friedan claiming the suburbs were burying women alive. But it's very hard to romanticise anything if you look at it too closely, so just join me in squinting a little. All of this is to say, this is an era that's imagery has rattled around my brain since childhood. So when I found 19 film negatives from the 1950s stuffed into an envelope, I jumped at the chance to see what was on them. Although at the time, I had no idea where these pictures would lead. It is amazing what you'll find at the bottom of a drawer. This drawer in particular was full of all sorts of stuff from unseen photos from World War II, which we showed in the last video, footage of a homecoming parade, some nuns with yo-yos, sort of Bert and Ernie inspiration, a photo of Concorde, the first time it was ever on TV, this film prop from a film you're never ever going to see. And then right at the bottom of the drawer, completely forgotten about, were these film negatives from the 1950s. I got these about 2 years ago, 18 months, 2 years ago, and completely forgot about them until now. So we're going to get these scanned and we're going to see what's on them. It's a day later and the photos are scanned, you've seen them. And I'll be honest, I'm sort of struggling to finish this video because one of the things I like about photographs like these is that you know there's a story there. There's like a whole history of people's lives in a different location and a different time, and that's great. But one of the things I don't like is that I don't know what that story is. So I'm trying to toy with the idea of figuring out if I can find something about these photographs, whether that's just, kind of what state they were taken in, or who knows, something like that, something that would just give a bit more context to kind of what they are. Is that possible? To be a master detective, you need 3 things: a mind palace, a voiceover, and some clues. And I've got 2 out of 3. I started by picking out any photos that contained either landmarks or writing, and I don't mind telling you that I did not have a lot. This sign was too far away to read, these advertisements resulted in fuck all, and there are apparently skull caves everywhere. I was about to give up when I noticed this: Wolf Chevron Servicing. I entered those words into Google and it led me, quite remarkably, to this matchbook cover from the 1950s that someone had sold on eBay. Louis and Don Wolf from Ashland, Oregon. By gosh, we have a clue. Next, I googled WCA Airlines about a million different ways from Sunday, and to no avail. Before I figured I'd just take a punt. Oregon is on the west coast, so maybe that just stood for West Coast Airlines. And it did. A small airline that used to operate out of the Pacific Northwest in the 1950s. So, Ashland it is. I then went back onto Google and with my newfound knowledge found an ancestry page for Christian Louis Wolf, who had 4 children with his wife Alice, including Donald and Louis. A bit more digging around found me the family's address in the 1940s census, a house on Church Street that today looks like this, but back in the 1950s I imagine looked like this. Within 25 minutes I've somehow gone from knowing nothing to knowing exactly where these photos were taken, but there's not a lot I can do with that information other than feel smug about it. That is until I found this. A website for Dan Wolf Auto Repair in Ashland, Oregon. A local garage that has been in the same family for 3 generations and began, guess where? On Church Street. Now, Dan has a phone number, but that's maybe a bit weird, so instead I take the arguably weirder course of heading to Reddit and asking the good people of Oregon if they can help me out with an email address. Within a matter of hours, one kind man has popped in to see Dan and given me his email. So now, all that's left is to find a non-threatening way of saying, I have photos of your family and I know where you live.
Well, good afternoon. We start with a new UK record temperature that has been set this afternoon at Heathrow Airport.
A day of record-breaking temperatures across the United Kingdom.
Tropical
more
temperatures
40 degrees
across
Celsius
a brown
for the
and
first
blazing
time.
land.
Yesterday there was sun and there was rain, beauty in the mundane, and as the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise. And now there's something in the air and a sparkly shimmer on our skin.